Generic greetings and welcome back once again to Prison Architect and a new campaign. Today's beverage is a fairly standard yet reliable cup of tea, the good old-fashioned cuppa. So welcome back to Prison Architect, and previously we were finishing off building, testing and escaping from the No Perimeter Wall Island facility, which I'm glad we attempted. It was something very different, very quirky. I mean, it didn't really work that well, and we certainly experienced a lot of problems towards the end of it, but yeah, at least trying something a bit different was, let's say, hopefully of interest. And this is, well, it's not different, but it might be different for you. So back in the release of 1.0, we got a campaign, because previously when you were to load the game up, you basically have an option for create new prison, which is your standard sandbox mode, which is obviously where we've spent like 99% of our time. That or escaping, you understand. However, we got a campaign which is a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loosely interconnected scenarios, loosely connected with certain same characters and plot threads and Polaroids and stuff. And I did play and display that on the channel when it came out, but that was probably over a decade ago now, and I thought it would be a nice little palette cleanser to at least play the very first scenario. But if you want to see a full complete on this one, then let me know in the comments. The difference with this one is it starts off very tutorial-like, and it obviously introduces new elements, and this is mainly how it was, what it was created for, is to serve as like a nice jumping-on point, which obviously we don't necessarily need. However, it'd be nice to go back through and see what it is like, and when you get to the end, you do basically have free reign to build whatever, but what you don't have is the option to select any settings. So we are just given what we are given. We can't use certain things, but obviously at this time there wasn't any DLC, so I have no idea what additional rooms are in the game, how it's all connected. So it will be very fresh from my perspective, and well, like I say, it's over a decade ago since I last played it, and well, that might be the same for you, or you might not have even seen it. So with all that said and done, with the rambling over, let's go and jump into Death Row and play the very first scenario. So it says Death Row here, and we've been contracted to build an execution chamber at this prison in time for the scheduled execution of one of their inmates. Play. And Prison Architect, unless you were unfamiliar with what we were actively playing, for the avoidance of doubt. Paradox and Double 11, and I believe we load into, yes, we have a pre-built facility. We can see we've got guards down the bottom there. We've got obviously old school like textures, so you've got the tiles in the middle. You've got, wow, a very open shower with some guys standing around not doing any work. Looks like they're building some more cells down the bottom there. We've got some concrete and some beds that are facing, in my opinion, the wrong way, but okay. And yeah, this is the first scenario of the game, and it's going to basically tell us what we need to do. So there's all of the staff-only areas, warden's office being a bit bigger than everybody else's, garbage getting loaded onto the truck. I don't know if the driver used to move stuff over back in the day. Anyway, it looks like we've got a priest in here and Prison Architect. Wow, and this is like old school design on this one. Alright, so we can see we've got some cell blocks down the bottom, some ones at the top, and we've got a canteen in the middle, and we have the CEO calling. So, this is a tough one. There's a prisoner incarcerated at this facility who's been convicted of a double murder and sentenced to death. That's where we come in. We've been contracted to construct an execution chamber in time for the guy's big day. And where's it going to be? It's going to be on the left here. Okay, so this is where I want the new facility to be built. The first step with any project like this is to construct the building itself with enough space inside to fit an execution room and a holding cell. Okay, let's get started constructing a new building here. We'll also need an entrance to the new execution facility, build a large jail door into the south wall. Alright, so we have options for, let me just double check for rooms here. Yes, so we've got cinemas, we've got visitor receptions. None of this existed when I originally played this, because obviously there was no DLC. Anyway, foundations, building brick, I think I'll go with, and then we'll clicky, draggy, go over to walls and doors, and to doors, and then we'll put that in there like so. Okay, we've got another chat here. It says your workmen are responsible for the construction of buildings. Yes, they'll collect the steel and concrete from this storeroom and take it to the construction site. They'll use those raw materials to build the foundations and framework of your new building. This is the slowest part of construction, so you should plan ahead when building new facilities. While we wait, take a look around. Your WS need our case to move around. Yes, so it is serving as like a tutorial. We will max speed this out because the workers obviously are cracking on there. Should we have a look at what's going on? So at the top here, we have some mixed prisoners here. So you've got low risk, got medium, and you've got high. We've got some cells around here, a security room that isn't designated as security because it's too small. We have a fairly large kitchen. This is normally something I do, oversize the kitchen. Shower down here, which is really not fit for purpose in my opinion. We've got in the canteen here, which is more than acceptable for the 51 capacity inmates that we can have, and I can already tell that in my future we are going to get basically we're going to have to improve the power station. Yeah, right. Anyway, the CEO has now gone on the horn again. Inside the building, I want a cell and an execution room. Partition the space by constructing some brick walls. Okay, so walls and brick wall, and that can go along there and in there and in there. So this is going to be obviously the cell, and then in here we're going to have the execution room, I would imagine. So the workers are going to come along and start to build that. Just have a look around over on the right and down the bottom. We have in the shower room. We've got some more mixed facilities. We've got all of this stuff here. The way in. I don't even know if any of this is set to staff only or anything. We don't have access to any of that. Now add large GL doors to the dividing walls. You can rotate the objects. Yes, we can. So over to there and then doors. Large GL door and then one and then two like so. So this will be designated as a cell. This will be designated as execution, and we'll put all of the basic stuff in. Where is our inmate? They're over here. There you go. So eventually they will be moved over. Yeah, I can't remember exactly when sort of death row was put in, but I believe it was before the 1.0. I don't know if it was early on or not. Anyway, that's now in, and I'm guessing the CEO is going to call again. Yep. So that's looking good. We now need to designate rooms within those spaces, designate a cell in a smaller area where our condemned inmate will live, then designate the execution room itself in the larger area. Okay, rooms, and then execution, and again, clicky, clicky, draggy, draggy, cell, similar thing, like so, and now we need to furnish the room, so you can see all of the stuff at once. So those new rooms have requirements before they become functional. The cell needs to have a bed and a toilet, and the execution room requires an electric chair. So we can go to the bed here, we'll put the bed in, we'll go for the toilet and sink and put it on like so. Then finally, if we zoom into execution, we have the electric chair that goes right in the middle, and normally I put like some benches around or seating or whatever, but we shall see. We then need to connect it up to the electrical system, which I don't think is adequate enough. Anyway, that's the essentials taken care of, but there's still a few improvements you could make. It's up to you though, they aren't strictly required. It depends on how much care about your prisoners and their environment. So we'll have some optional objectives here. The cell itself could be improved with an outward facing window and a small bookshelf, and the execution room probably with some chairs. Higher quality floor material like wooden floorboards or mosaic tiles, and then outside you could add some lighting and a paved pathway if you think it needs it. Okay, and we are zooming over to our inmate here. So this is, oh, I think all unlocked now. CEO, this is the man in question, Edward Romsey, a teacher once, would you believe? It's not our place to decide if he deserves this. The law has made that decision. We're just here to do a job. Once you are satisfied and the facility is ready, you can give him the prisoner transfer to his new cell. Simply click on the Polaroid in his cell to initiate the transfer, and there you go. Okay, so we will do I think we will do all of the extras, because why not? So over to objects here and to a window. The window can go in there. Bookshelf will go next to it. We're going to go with flooring and paving stones, and I'm going to put in some paving stones like this and then across like that. Is that alright? Create some outdoor lighting in the facility. Okay, we could do that one. So I'll put lighting either side. So these lights, these are your standard lights, and when they're inside, they're like on the sort of roof lights. When they're outside, they change to these sort of pillar lights. So yeah, add the window into the cell, we're working on that one. Redo the flooring with higher quality materials, so wooden flooring, which is going to go in there, and then the rest of it I'm going to go with maybe mosaic like that. Alright, and then let's see if that is going to be all of the optional. Obviously, I've said put a pathway in. I don't know if it's going to get there. Yes, it has. And then we're going to fill all these in. We've got a death. Okay, so the game, as far as I can tell, is still being simulated. Yes, dead overdose. Ah, well, that's a bit of an issue because, well, there is no. No, there isn't. I was going to say there's no treatment room around here. There's no option for an infirmary. I don't know if I've got it unlocked or not. In infirmary, it is not unlocked, and in bureaucracy, I guess I can do it, but I'm just following the tutorial here. And well, let's see. We'll click on the Polaroid, and the chief is calling. So, oh, actually, no, wait, look, it looks like the guards are outside there, so we can see the Polaroid and. It looks like they've incarcerated the priest. The chief, don't shed one tear for this guy. He's a stone-cold killer, guilty as charged. He even confessed. Want to hear his description of what he did? It's juicy stuff. It was around 11 p.m. The lights were already on. I knew she was home. And, yeah, we get a sort of flashback to what happened here. And heading inside. Very subdued colour palette here. Don't recognise that, like a flat screen TV, or some of this stuff here. This might just be some... Oh yeah, and that sink as well. So this is all stuff that's not in-game to be built and such. And we've also got wardrobes, other things in here, and... Yeah, looks like they've been caught in the act. Edward, I knew I'd catch you two here. Edward, just don't. What are you going to do? Well, he's got the revolver. Okay. And that happened. Okay, Ed. Yeah. So, guilty as charged, apparently. And this is obviously before everything. And this is why we're now building. Left the gun there. Forensics will be taking a look at that, I'm sure. And there we go, back into the main game. The chief, clear as day if you ask me, deserves every vote he's going to get. All men deserve forgiveness, even him. Are you so sure yourself that you can deal out such final judgment? Catching your wife with another man is no excuse for what he did, and he went there with a loaded gun knowing he'd find them together. That's a double premeditated murder. He's done nothing but cooperate with the authorities. This state is making an example of him. If he'd committed his crime 100 miles north, he'd be looking at life imprisonment instead. How is that justice? Do you want a guy like this running free? I'll sleep just fine at night when I know he's gone. Okay. So obviously they are being escorted over to their new cell. Another CEO call here. Good work so far. However, there is one problem. The execution room isn't functioning yet because it doesn't have any power. We called this out earlier. We'll need to connect it to the electrical supply, which is, yeah, there we go. This is our introduction to the, to the power grid. We are now viewing the prison in utilities mode, which shows us the electrical wiring layout for the entire prison. Each building in the prison is connected to the power grid by these thick underground electrical cables. Yes, we can see them there, all in sort of bottle green. Power is provided to the prison by this substation, which draws electricity from the national grid. And we've now got a power bar because it's going to teach us about powering stuff off. And oh yeah, something's broke over here. As you can see, this entire wing of the prison cell is without power. All the lights are out. To fix this problem, we need to switch to utilities mode and put the power in. Okay, we'll do just that. Just gives a bit of control, and I'll happily sort this out for you, CEO. The nearest electrical cables are too far away. Our engineers can't complete the wiring for this area. Extend the cables nearby to cover the wing. Okay, utilities and electrical cable, and clicky clicky draggy draggy over way to there, and that's now in. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, I'm talking, yeah, a long time ago now. So old. When the game first came out, the only real way to learn was, well, obviously trial and error, playing it yourself, watching other people play, and for me mainly watching the Chris and Mark introversion videos, where they would go through, you know, how the game works, what they've been adding in, and that sort of thing. And yeah, I wasn't even on Steam at that point. This is now all connected. Connect the rooms to the electrical supply. So we need to get this one connected as well, which I'm going to do by going like so. That should suffice. How much money do we have? All right, we're going to run out of money shortly. We've only got 609,000 generic units of currency, receiving about 2,500 per day, and we've got 20 guards, 52 prisoners, maximum capacity. We can see we've got guards guarding Eden here, and we've got the spiritual leader in there as well. Let me just max speed this out, get the guys to finish off with the building, and then I think we do a test, and then it doesn't work. And what else are we missing, by the way? Connect the rooms to the electrical supply. So what rooms to the electrical supply? Do I just need to bring it down? I guess, yeah, it's that room there is not connected. Okay, so it's just one little bit, and then that'll be this part of the tutorial done. And there we go, that's now done. And it's probably going to say connect this room, but I've already done it because I thought that's what it was asking us to do. Anyway, lights aren't on the only thing that needs power. Your new electrical chair does too. Use the power cables to connect the execution facility to it, which I've done. Electric chair itself is a special type of electrical item. It requires its own dedicated power line. You need to connect it up directly with the cables, and there's that done. Let's see if the game glitches out. No, it didn't. It's allowed us to proceed, which is pretty good. CEO, we are almost done. I think we should test the new execution room once before we use it, though. Just going to turn on for a few seconds, make sure everything is okay, and we're going to hear a big clunk, and the entire system is going to go offline. There we go. So we've just powered down the entire thing. So we have, actually the CEO has, well, that didn't work. Looks like it drew too much power and tripped a circuit breaker in the power station. The whole prison is dark. We're going to need more juice able to handle the power. So basically build more capacitors. Are those capacitors? Yes. First we need to turn the power back on. This is a two-step process. Switch the power station back on by clicking on it and selecting switch on in the menu, and then build 3 more capacitors so we have enough power. Once you're done with that, test the electric chair again by clicking on it and selecting switch on. So we will go to switch on. So power comes back on, and then capacitors, and then we run those there. You can see we do have capacitor max plus, so a lot of the stuff that like wasn't even in existence is still available, or is now available, should I say, for the campaign, which I don't know what that means for building. Obviously, we have to just follow the to-do list, but I believe the very last scenario of this campaign is pretty much like freeform. It just says, here's the rough requirements. So you need, basic detention center, essentially. You need cell blocks, you need walls, you need to get some staff, and it's up to you how you want to do that. So yeah, we shall see. But the game is obviously opening up with, it's not even talked about prisoner needs, it's not talked about logistics, it's not talked about intelligence or any quick building, planning, emergency services, mandatory rooms, additional rooms, prisoner needs, prisoner policy, any of the regime or anything like that, grants. It's not touched any of that. This is solely focusing on the building of this thing, which is, yeah, probably the way to do it, to be fair. Start getting into sort of complex prisoner needs and such. It's well, he's going to run for the hills, I guess. Okay, so we will go to there and we will switch on, and it didn't blow up the grid, and that's fine. The CEO is now calling. Well done, I believe we are finished with this job. What happens now is out of our hands. We did a professional job, and that's important in our business. Try not to worry about what happens next. Okay, so we can see we've got the spiritual leader there, and it's another sprite I don't recognise above the altar there that I've not seen in game. Big church here, and here comes our character coming into the church. I can't, like I said, it's been over a decade since I played this, so I can't remember the exact story beats, but I believe, was he set up? I can't exactly remember. But something like that's, I think there was there a twist? Can I help you, Edward? Are you looking for forgiveness? I don't know. I have to do something. I can't live with the things I've done. You have to turn yourself in. Whatever you've done, you cannot evade the consequences. You will never be able to live with yourself until you face up to your past. I want to go back. I want to forgive her. I want to to forgive me. God will forgive you no matter what you have done if you ask him to, but you must answer for your crimes in the eyes of the law. There are no other way. So, there we go. We are, well, in the cell there. It is time, Edward. You have done the right thing, even though this world will not forgive you for it. You will be with God, and he will have the final judgment on you. And then, I believe we get the... Do we get the warden come in? We certainly probably will see the chief, but I don't know if we get any of the usual stuff, as in with like their visitors and things like that. But we still have the spiritual leader, and it'll go into the facility. Well, I'll get more Polaroids as well. And I believe once you've finished the campaign, you get access to more Polaroids and to the cutscenes and stuff, so you can always go back and watch them. You don't have to play through again just for the sort of story thread bits. So we've got a Polaroid there with a electric chair there, which is actually all made of wood, which I guess makes sense. Yeah, no chief, no warden, and certainly no victims. The guard's gone over to the power switch. Edward Romsey, you've been found guilty of 2 counts of murder in the 1st degree. There's the chief. The penalty is death. Do you have anything to say? What's he going to say? I'm sorry? Susan, I'm sorry. Yep. Called that one. And click. There it is. Something we've built in the past in obviously our normal playthroughs in the sandbox mode. But yeah, bit more character on this one. Obviously it being the campaign. And I think with that is probably the first chapter of the game and the campaign done. So then, Chapter 2, which we will not be continuing on with this episode, and whether or not we continue on in general with this is really up to yourself. Let me know in the comments what you think, and if there's enough demand and enough desire to continue playing through the campaign, then let me know. The whole idea of this video was to take a look at least part of the campaign and the first scenario in 2025, and it certainly answered some questions, and the main one was, is it still playable? Yes, it does work, for now at least. And secondly, are all of the new rooms and new options in it? And again, the answer appears to be yes. So, you know, it is different from what it was like over 10 years ago, or around about 10 years ago. And, well, yes, if nothing else, I've enjoyed this little sort of sojourn of checking it out. And if we go for Chapter 2, then that's great. If not, then, you know, I've at least satisfied some curiosity. Let me know what you think, and as always, we'll go from there. Thanks very much for watching. Take care, and generic partings.